We are deep in the midst of the corona apocalypse. Conferences are being canceled. The NBA season has been canceled. Travel restrictions from Europe. But even though people are freaking out and stripping their stores of toilet paper because apparently they think they can eat it, there are still some things we can find humorous, although, well, maybe humorous isn't the right word. It's something you face palm over, but you got to have a sense of humor about these things. Hopefully, well, actually, Donovan Mitchell is not going to have a sense of humor about this. I'm not a big sports guy, right? But I gotta tell you this one. Rudy Gobert touched every microphone at Jazz Media Availability Monday. Now reportedly has coronavirus. Apparently, this dude, NBA player, was acting like the coronavirus was no big deal, and he starts going like whatever, and then he actually starts touching all the microphones like it's nothing. Guess what? The dude tests positive for coronavirus. Now another dude on the Jazz has it. Dude, I tell you what, man. If you start laughing and gloating about how there's no problem, and then you bring that problem to me, oof. It's YouTube. I got to keep it family friendly, but you know where I'm going, huh? Let's check out the story. I'm going to show you this timeline because we have breaking news. Donovan Mitchell tests positive for coronavirus. It's funny because he's on the Utah Jazz as well. You get this dumb dude. Oh, man. And now, we don't know who transmitted or who started it, but in terms of how the news is carrying it, presumably Rudy Gobert was symptomatic first. So, yeah, maybe. Let's read the story. They say, Rudy Gobert became the first NBA player to test positive for coronavirus on Wednesday, according to Shams Charania of The Athletic. And while the league moved swiftly to suspend the season afterward, Gobert's actions before any decision were made has caused some alarm in the basketball world. With the NBA recently banning media from accessing locker rooms, players have begun fulfilling their media obligations at the podium. Gobert did so at Monday's Utah Jazz shoot-around. Afterward, he proceeded to touch every microphone on the stage, seemingly sending a message about his fearlessness in regards to the disease. It is unknown just how many people came into contact with those microphones after Gobert. Listen, I'm gonna play this video for you. This is so hilarious. Check this out. He's about to walk away, and he's like, no, let me actually just start touching every microphone and the table. What an idiot. You know what, man? This is the perfect example of the morons who are like, why are you getting ready for the virus, duh? Have you seen the photos in, like, D.C., in New York, in Seattle? Look, man, I don't care in this regard. If we're dealing with the apocalypse, I'm talking about panic. Panic is the first thing we should actually be concerned. Well, I shouldn't say it's the first thing, but panic is a serious threat. And we're seeing now people freaking out and buying every toilet paper roll in the building because apparently some people are just scared about not getting toilet paper. I have no idea what people are doing. That's nuts. The coronavirus is a serious threat. And I think it's so, you know what, man? There are people posting, in 2009 to 2010, the swine flu killed 12,000 people with millions infected. And I'm like, oh, can you do the math now as to why this is more serious? Let me stop you right there. Let me stop you right there, guy who's saying, but the flu killed more people. With millions of people infected, 12,000 people died? Is that the numbers the CDC has apparently given us? With 100,000 infected, over 4,000 have died. Do the math. The mortality rate is substantially higher for this. Yeah, let's do what we can to slow things down and stop this to the best of our abilities. Otherwise, our medical system overloads. But here you get one of these guys, such morons, hubris, arrogance, optimism bias. It can never happen to me. Dude is now confirmed. Shams Charania, senior lead NBA insider writer for The Athletic and Stadium. Utah Jazz All-Star Rudy Gobert has tested positive for coronavirus, sources tell the Athletic NBA. Sources say Gobert is feeling good, strong, and stable, and was feeling strong enough to play tonight, but it's possible he gets mild symptoms. I mean, think about it this way. Dude's an athlete. He's probably trained. He's probably got a strong body, so he'll probably be all right. But then he's going to go and get everybody else sick. Touching everything? Oh, man. I just can't stand it. Because here's the thing. He was making a point about how I'm not going to get it. And he was giving it to other people when he was doing that. How stupid. Man, these people are dumb. Just because you're good at playing, a top-tier athlete doesn't mean you're a top-tier scholar, I'm sorry to say. Gobert was ruled out of Wednesday's game earlier with what the Jazz termed as an illness, which later grew into the reported positive test for coronavirus. The Jazz released a statement Wednesday explaining the situation without naming Gobert. After the game between the Utah Jazz and Oklahoma City Thunder was postponed, players for both teams were quarantined in their locker rooms, according to Tony Jones, The Athletic. Jones revealed that he himself would not be traveling out of Oklahoma City and that he planned to get tested. The NBA reportedly planned initially to continue playing games in empty arenas. However, Gobert's diagnosis proved the fallibility of that strategy. If even one player was infected, it would force everyone on his team and who he played against into quarantine. Suspending the season was the right call, but in letting the Jazz and Thunder take the floor, it might have come too late. There is no telling how far the disease has spread within the league now. Man, you gotta be a special kind of stupid to do what he did. So they issued a statement, and they said, this morning a player in the Utah Jazz tested negative for influenza, strep throat, and an upper respiratory infection. The individual's symptoms diminished over the course of today. However, in a precautionary measure and in consultation and cooperation with NBA medical staff and Oklahoma health officials, the decision was made to test for COVID-19. A preliminary positive result came back right before tip-off of the Utah Jazz-Oklahoma City game. How? Man, it's just, if it can go wrong, it will go wrong. If we had taken harsher measures like shutting these games down 2 weeks ago, we would drastically reduce the spread of this, but we are just 2 steps behind. And when you add to the problem people like Gobert who are laughing and touching everything like it's a joke, I'll tell you what, man, let me throw some shade over at AOC's way. There's a viral video right now where she's giving a press conference like, make sure you don't touch your face. Look at me touching my face right now. Yeah, I know. I know. So stupid. No, I know it's stupid. I was touching my face too. But I'm at home, all right? And I also don't think, like, the issue with being out in public and touching your face is very different from me. I'm like, I don't want to say we're self-quarantined, but I'm kind of a homebody anyway. You ever wonder how I'm able to produce so many videos? I don't leave. I go to the store sometimes, play video games, but for the most part, I work from home, so I'm not going to go anywhere. But yeah, I get it. I touched my face too. That's the joke, by the way. Let's read more. Subsequently, the decision was correctly made by the NBA to postpone the game. When it was determined that the individual would be tested, we immediately informed the league office. The health and safety of our players and our organization, those throughout the league, and those potentially impacted by the situation are paramount in our discussions. We are working closely with the CDC, Oklahoma and Utah state officials, and the NBA to determine how to best move forward as we gather more information. The individual is currently in the care of health officials in Oklahoma City in coordination with the NBA and state officials. We'll provide updates at the appropriate time. So now we have the latest update. Donovan Mitchell, I can only imagine, is ready to go have some choice words for Mr. Gobert. He now tests positive. Check it out. Utah. Let me actually zoom in for those that are seeing this on who are watching. Utah Jazz and star Donovan Mitchell has tested positive for the coronavirus. League sources told ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski. Mitchell becomes the second Jazz player to test positive for contracting the virus, along with Rudy Gobert. Sources told Wojnarowski. Sorry. Gobert's diagnosis led to the postponement of Wednesday's game against the Oklahoma City Thunder. The Jazz announced Thursday that a second player has tested positive, but did not identify Mitchell. We are working closely with the CDC, Oklahoma, and Utah state officials, and the NBA to monitor their health and determine the best path moving forward, the Jazz said in a statement. Jazz players are privately saying that Gobert showed a cavalier attitude. Excuse me. Is that what you're calling it? Toward the virus in the locker room, touching teammates and their belongings. Oh, no. This dude was the epitome of arrogance, and he basically, I'm willing to bet they're all going to get sick. And, man, I'll tell you what, dude, you bring that. Look, I've gotten sick before, and I'm always angry at the people who bring that in. Like, I'll invite someone over, and they'll be having the sniffles. I'll be like, did you seriously just come over to my house and you got the sniffles and you got a cold? Now we're all going to get sick. What are you doing? Stay home. Take care of yourself. Don't bring that to my house. Now I'm going to get sick and I can't work? I couldn't imagine being an NBA player. Top tier athlete, you want to take care of your body. You got to train every day. And this dude's going around touching things all like, I can do whatever I want. And now he's sick. And now you're sick. Oh, man. I can only imagine what that conversation is going to be like. Oh, I'll leave it there because, I'll leave it there. At Monday's media availability, Gobert was seen touching all the microphones and tape recorders at the end of his session with reporters. And now the reporters who got to pick up those tape recorders are going to get sick too. You got to be kidding me, man. I can't. This is insane. Players the Jazz have faced within the past 10 days are being told to self-quarantine. A source told ESPN's Brian Windhorst. In those 10 days, Utah has played the Cleveland Cavaliers, New York Knicks, Boston Celtics, Detroit Pistons, and Toronto Raptors. Here's what you got to understand. Because we were having conversations here about going to the gym and going to the store. And this is probably the worst place to have it. Because think about it. You transmit it by breathing on people and coughing on people. So here you are playing a sport, drenched in sweat. There's water, there's sweat everywhere. And you're breathing heavy because you're athletic. And it's getting everywhere. Big clouds of coronavirus filtering around through the air. They're all going to get it, man. You breathe that in. All of these players huffing and puffing the air all around them. All the other players are breathing in the same air, man. I don't know if you've ever gone to a place where it's like really hot inside, like a venue or whatever, and you're breathing in the sweat of everyone else. Yeah, you're going to get sick, man. The Raptors announced Thursday that members of the team's traveling party have been tested for the coronavirus and that they're awaiting results. The NBA announced Wednesday night that it was suspending the season following the Jazz's announcement of a positive coronavirus test. The NBA will use this hiatus to determine next steps for moving forward in regard to the coronavirus pandemic, the league said in a statement. For most people, the coronavirus causes only mild or moderate symptoms, such as fever and cough. For some, especially older adults and people with existing health problems, it can cause more severe illnesses, including pneumonia. The vast majority of people recover from the virus, according to the World Health Organization, which labeled the coronavirus a pandemic on Wednesday. People with mild illness recover in about two weeks, while those with more severe illnesses may take 3 to 6 weeks to recover. The NBA is expected to address next steps to the teams when it conducts a call with the Board of Governors at 12:30 p.m. Thursday, sources told ESPN's Ramona Shelburne. There are 259 games, roughly 21% of the schedule left to play in the season. All right, I'll tell you what. It's probably the smart thing to do to actually shut things down. We don't want to end up like Italy. So I can't believe people like this Gobert dude. This is exactly the opposite of what someone needs to do. And when you see what happened in China and their authoritarian reaction, you also need to recognize we can't do that here. We don't have the legal authority, and it's a good thing, to barricade people in their homes and weld their doors shut. We shouldn't. But that means the responsibility falls on us to not be morons like this dude touching everything. And then they go on to say that he was in the locker room touching everything too, having a cavalier attitude about it. Optimism bias. It'll never happen. Oh, you know how many memes I've seen from morons who are like, they said the same thing about this pandemic and this pandemic, but we had Zika and we had swine flu. It's another, listen, man. You know what's really annoying is that we've had outbreaks before, like Zika, like swine flu, avian flu, etc. And they were decently bad. And because these people weren't impacted, they roll their eyes and they say, it'll never happen. First of all, man, you got to understand, we're trying to be cautious. If when they come out in the news and say SARS, of course the media is going to go nuts. Of course they want to play up to it, but also recognize it is better to overreact. And they say, but nothing happened. Then yes, because we stopped it, you idiot. It reminds me of, I can't remember who said this, but they were like, it might have been Giuliani. I don't want to falsely accuse Giuliani, but somebody said something like, there should be terror attacks. That way people are reminded of the protections they need and why they need them. It's a really stupid statement. But this is what happens. People are like, I never got sick. So you mean the CDC did its job and the warnings worked and people, distanced themselves so the virus didn't become that bad? And now because of that, you think nothing could ever happen and you get people like this going and touching everything, literally making it worse. I tell you what, this is instant karma. Instant karma. And all of the people that he works with in the locker room, I can just imagine he shows up and he's like, hey, everybody, they're going to get better, right? Everyone's going to be okay. It's not the end of the world. He's going to show up and he's going to have all these people turn around and they're going to give him the death glare. And that's the best case scenario for this guy. I won't be surprised. Okay, I got to keep it family friendly. But I'll just, you know what I mean? Maybe, this dude might want to avoid certain people because he basically gave him this virus, man. I'll put it this way. We don't know for sure who gave who what, right? And I don't think it's fair to say we know for sure. So we don't. But based on this guy's attitude, I imagine he's going around, he's the kind of guy who's going to drop food on the floor, pick it up, and be like, it's fine, I'm fine, he eats it. He's going around touching everything, not caring. Meanwhile, you got other people taking precautions, maybe using hand sanitizers and stuff. And this guy, he's the one who doesn't care. And so he's more likely to get the infection. And then he absolutely goes and spreads it. You know what, man? Look at me touching my face already. Yeah, I know we're not supposed to do it, but I think it's fine. I'm in my house, whatever. These are people who are going outside. They're going around touching stuff, touching other people's stuff, touching their faces. The thing about AOC, too, is that she's in public at a press conference telling people not to touch their face and then simultaneously doing it. All right, I'll take some fault for touching my face. I'll accept that. But admittedly, I'm in my home studio, okay? It's a big difference between going out in the public. We've basically been chilling at home. I just washed my hands. All right, but still, I understand the silliness of telling people not to touch their face and then literally touching your face. So just stop doing it. I don't know what to expect next, but I'm going to leave you with one final thing because so YouTube, I've been in conversations with YouTube about the censorship issue. We can't talk about it. I was told recently that they're going to allow me to talk about coronavirus on my main channel. Let me break this down and explain to you exactly what's happening. On this channel, they don't really know it exists. They don't pay attention to it. Most of the videos I produce will be demonetized on this channel because they pay no attention. This is like my secondary channel. It gets automated reviews and everything gets demonetized. My main channel is under heavy scrutiny from YouTube, like the people in San Francisco. So they review literally every video I do. And there's a program called self-certification where I have to say what is or isn't in it. The difference between how I can talk about it on this channel is that they will demonetize every video anyway, but they also don't suppress these videos for the most part. They have, but typically they don't. On my main channel, if I talk about coronavirus, the video will just not appear at all. That's how heavy the scrutiny is. So what they've basically said is, that's why my main channel is basically nothing but political talk. It's like the only thing they allow, and sometimes not even that. So right now, the big problem is all news is coronavirus. And I reached out to them and said, when will I be allowed to talk about this? And they said, we'll let you know, but sometime soon, which means I probably can't, meaning over my main channel, I'm going to be talking about, I don't know, gossip. It's going to be political, probably. And I'm going to have to avoid talking about coronavirus on that channel. This is the legit problem of censorship. And it's why I have 3 different channels. Timcast IRL is the podcast show we do live every night. We talk about whatever we want. And that's typically because the live show, it's ignored, it's a new channel. And we rely a lot on super chats. On this channel, they will demonetize the video, which I expect anyway, so it's fine, whatever. But then they don't suppress them. They just, so it's like, my assumption is the general demonetization stuff that happens to the average channel is outsourced to another country. My main channel, however, has actual San Francisco-based Google employees in the building watching my content, and they literally shadow ban. Meaning if I talk about coronavirus on that channel, not only will it be demonetized, you won't even see it go live. Some people have even complained past videos don't even appear on my channel at all, which means they only allow me to talk about certain things. But I'll tell you this, I've found ways to essentially navigate it. I can talk about coronavirus here with no problem, whatever, it's fine. I can talk about anything I want here and I don't care. And YouTube typically ignores it. On my main channel, all I've decided is that my main, news, political commentary stuff will just appear there, but I'll be the first to admit the censorship is a serious problem and it restricts what we can talk about. So my choice is stop producing or just put specific content on that channel and create new channels that can host other content. That's what I'm doing. So whatever. YouTube is supposed to be opening the door. I'll leave it there. Stick around. Next segment will be at 4 p.m. youtube.com/Timcast. I have no idea what I can talk about because everything is coronavirus, the market collapse. There's maybe some stuff, but it's probably going to be not related. So I don't know. Maybe it's a good thing. I'll see you all then. 4 p.m. Thanks for hanging out.